Going to school, getting a job, working hard, saving money is the most out-of-date idea. Pay off debt and make long-term stock market investments. When trillions of dollars are being printed, why would you want to save money? There is a vast disparity between the 1% and 99%. You must consider the broader picture because it's not just about the money. What then do you do? There is a poor person inside us, and I am no exception. The middle-class individual also desires stability in their income and security, and there's a wealthy individual, and we all contain them, except that it needs to be instructed. It's that you're trained to attend school, find employment, and earn money. I was not instructed to acquire wealth. Having read Rich Dad, my affluent dad refused to pay me, poor dad. According to him, one of the worst things you can take in life is your paycheck. He asserts that having a paycheck means you are an employee, and that's how people should think. So I never got compensated by my affluent dad. My dad, who works for the government, was annoyed by it. You gotta pay people, you gotta pay people. Furthermore, the wealthy father stated that he didn't want to be a slave to money rather than complaining about his wages. As an entrepreneur, I would attempt another business if my wealthy dad folded. I do not need a salary. I can take care of myself without assistance. I relocate to another nation if my government doesn't like me because they need entrepreneurs there. Therefore, entrepreneurs have a different mindset, skill set, and set of unique rules than those in the actual business. As you can see, my tiny firm does not follow the same regulations as large corporations. An entrepreneurial attitude, skill set, and set of norms come first. Additionally, there are differences in the regulations, mindsets, and skill sets based on whether you work for a small business or are employed. If someone had never been an entrepreneur and considered starting their own business, what recommendation would you give them? I experienced the same thing. My boss gave me my last paycheck, a taxable bonus check for about $30,000. That's the only issue with that. I was working for Xerox when I received my last paycheck, which I can still vividly recall as one of my life's worst and best days. I was in Puerto Rico at the time. After receiving this check, I exclaimed, "Holy mackerel." I was both disturbed and excited. After that, a different man named John approaches me and tells me, "You're going to be back." "Why?" I asked, and he replied, "Because you're going to fail." I glanced at him and remarked, "Look, a few swear words." He did that precisely, leaving Xerox, failing, and returning. That's the mindset, I told them. Look, you fail and you come back, but I'm going to fail and I'm never coming back. Recognize what I mean? Yes, you'll act accordingly if you say to yourself, well, if I fail, I'll go back to mommy and daddy. I had no money, so if I failed, that's when I turned into an entrepreneur. I was broke for years. Yes, I was without a paycheck. However, my wealthy father pushed me to take that action. He claims that when you don't have this paycheck, you become sharper and more hungry, and it's a test of your integrity to see if you turn into a crook. Will you start being untruthful? Will you steal and cheat? Or are you going to improve as a person? That's the advantage of becoming an entrepreneur. At times of adversity, you truly discover your true self. Thus, it would help if you always considered the broader picture. Many people think, well, what's going to happen to me? Considering the larger perspective, you will also realize that good things always come from harmful things. However, it would help if you got ready for whatever is ahead. You'll be very disappointed if you believe that the next 20 years will be the same as the last 20. When I go to the grocery store with you and we purchase a carton of milk, we look up the expiration date every time. However, most people must remember to check their minds for expiration dates. I incurred debt rather than paying it off. I just made a fortune by refinancing $300 million in debt at an interest rate of 2.5% instead of 5%. My cost of money has decreased. Thus, every month I receive more money. Therefore, although some financial experts advise getting out of debt, I recommend learning how to leverage debt. When I returned from Vietnam in January 1973, my wealthy father told me to enroll in real estate investing classes. It had little to do with real estate. Rather, it was about using debt and taxation to further enrich the wealthy. The poor and middle class become even poorer due to debt and taxation. Thus, all the wealthy men who work in medicine, law, or other professions are getting creamed, and they have no idea why. Yes, their income has increased, but their take-home pay has decreased. My doctor just yelled at me saying, "Oh, guess what? I finally made $1 million," with a pleased expression. Indeed, this was only 3 weeks ago, I said. Yeah, so how much do you pay in taxes? I said. $750,000 in taxes, he remarks. Thus, he had a net worth of $400,000. That's not all that horrible because I keep the $1 million I make. And the reason for that is that I don't work for pay. Check if you are taxed if you work for pay. For this reason, the first lesson in Rich Dad is that, according to Poor Dad, the rich don't work for money. Instead, as entrepreneurs, we start new companies. We buy property. I'm not a stock market investor. Because I am an entrepreneur, I can therefore better control my income, how much I make, and how much I pay in taxes. Additionally, I pay no taxes because I invest in real estate and run my own business. As a result, I instantly invest any money I earn as an entrepreneur, $1 million in real estate, and have a 4-to-1 step up. I invest $1 million in real estate, and the bank gives me $4 million. I adore banks because of this. Although it's awful, the banks benefit me even if everyone else loses. You should have stated that while printing benefits you, it is detrimental to others who labor for pay. When you print, those who work for pay get creamed, and savers get creamed. Debtors become wealthy when they publish. As you can see, taxes and debt both increase the wealth of the affluent and decrease the wealth of the middle class. We get outdated outcomes when we use obsolete concepts. For most individuals, this means attending school, finding employment, putting in a lot of effort, saving money, paying off debt, purchasing a home as an asset, and making long-term investments. It is out of date. The world has changed since President Nixon removed us from the gold standard in 1971, turning money into debt. What would happen if there were no schools? Is it preferable if there was no system of schooling? No, education used to be more crucial. It's just that it's outdated now. As you may know, Moore's Law states that, according to Moore's Law, information doubles every 18 months. Put differently, after 18 months, everything is outdated. Thus, this is a relatively new occurrence. As a result, you're already out of date when you graduate from college, which is why I'm the older guy. You know, I went to Harvard and met my friends. Yes, I attended Harvard. I replied, yeah, that was how long, 50 years ago? Banks today charge interest to help you save money. Put another way, the banks don't want your money because they have printed too much money. Therefore, there are stock markets, real estate, and other bubbles. People are discarding their money. As I stated, cash is trash and savers are losers. However, many say, well, I want a high-paying job. Well, that's an ancient notion. Pay off your debt. This is an outdated notion. You ought to understand how to accrue debt, how to utilize debt to acquire wealth. They will also never teach you taxation. The 1% is well up here, and the 99% are heading in this direction because of taxes and inflation resulting from printing money. They are being crushed by it. And any business owner who believes, I'm just going to start a business and make a lot of money because that's what we talk about, should wake up seriously. You know, that's different from how actual business owners operate. Of America's 28 million small business owners, 24 million are one-person operations. These individuals make up the majority of entrepreneurs. They are referred to as independent contractors. Consequently, that happens when individuals need help to get what an entrepreneur does. Thus, while most people work for themselves, they are not always self-employed. Nobody informs self-employed people that they pay the highest taxes. Yes, it's also known as the entrepreneurial spirit, but we really wanted to make the point that there is no such thing as a terrible economy. You and I both have an external economy, as you are aware. However, an internal economy can also be altered with enough willpower. Therefore, I don't care because I can see the good and the terrible, since I'm going to be wealthy anyhow. However, a poor individual with a weak personal economy, all they will witness will be a faltering economy, because they are ignorant of how to profit in any economy. Someone from the middle class has a middle-class economy, so you can imagine that their priorities are a decent home, a reliable source of income, a job, and a car. It is, therefore, disastrous to take away their employment from them. It's not a massive concern because an entrepreneur doesn't have a job. Thus, what I'm expressing to others is what I learned from Bucky Fuller. You understand what I mean when I say there are always two sides, so use plural wherever possible. It follows that if you feel that the economy is awful, it is because of your economy. You will witness an unemployed economy if you believe stable employment is crucial. Your financial system. The external economy opposes yours, where you are in control versus where I am in control. Indeed, the distinction between an internal and exterior emphasis is known by that name. True entrepreneurs have internal concentration, but they see it as an opportunity to rise even higher in the event of a setback. The typical individual will collapse and declare, "Oh, I'm going to take some Prozac, you know." If someone makes mistakes, it doesn't matter how bad they are. Errors are significant because they indicate ignorance of specific topics. However, entrepreneurs can always rise no matter how far they fall. They can rise higher and get back up. Despite everything that has happened to them, they have become better, stronger, wiser, and happier. However, a person with weak internal thinking frequently experiences what they fear will happen. People terrified of losing their jobs tend to lose their jobs in general. You get what I mean. Everything passes through you without a doubt. Yes, the primary responsibility of an entrepreneur is to maintain control from within, not outside. As soon as you receive your paycheck, you are an employee. You must possess greater strength than that.